Good morning and welcome to Stories of Digital Transformation. What we're talking about today is lessons of how design thinking and systems thinking apply together and work together. And I want to just run through a presentation that I gave at an event in June this past year with Robert Siegel from Stanford's Graduate School of Business. And Rob was speaking to a group of customers about systems thinking, which enables us to apply solutions at scale. And then we were talking about how OST has played in those spaces. And so at that event, thought it'd be great if we could tell the stories a little more effectively and retell the stories for the OST team and use a few of the assets that we developed for that event. And so I'm using a set of cards in part, which go along with this deck. And that is talking about who OST is and then how we fit into the space, bridging the distance between insights, technology, and strategy in smart, meaningful ways that yield transformative results. There's a lot of words there, but fundamentally, as you go through these stories, there's the realization that we help organizations that are the best at what they do get better. So the stories that we're talking about are companies that lead their industries, lead their markets. So we do work with global companies, and some of those global companies aren't necessarily large. So Comfort Research, which is just a few blocks away from our office in Grand Rapids, is a global leader in the beanbag space. And they supply products to Walmart. They're a little company, but we help them get better. We did a data analytics portal and project for them. At the other extreme, you've got Caterpillar, which we'll talk about today. But the idea that companies that are the best at what they do, we help them get better. And that's really what we're talking about, is when we take insights and technology and strategy and combine those together, we're able to create really cool things for our customers. And that's based obviously in our culture, which we've all heard about, but I'll highlight this with our customers to say this is who we are fundamentally as an organization. We're an employee-centric company. We want to delight our customers, and we want to learn even as we're embracing innovation and entrepreneurship. And that combination of qualities are manifest internally as well, because even while you're facing struggles of digital transformation as a company, as our customers are facing, we have to fundamentally re-engineer what we do at times as well, because the market is changing. And so we applied these lessons to ourselves in our value streams. We had to create cross-functional cohorts that were not focused in a silo and were going across problem spaces, because the literature clearly shows that orienting around value streams is the best way to drive digital transformation. So we reoriented our value streams for our strategic focus as a company around strategy and insights. When we don't know the problem we're trying to solve or we're trying to investigate that problem, that's what that team does really well. Digital experiences is the mobile and design and development teams that are building digital products, digital experiences for our customers. Connected products is taking that into the physical space, Internet of Things, and that's platform, design, development, mobile, and strategy. And hybrid IT is the new name for our data center solutions team, where we're taking hybrid IT, which is IT that's on-prem and in the cloud, and merging that together to provide the enterprise infrastructure solutions to drive the above three. And then if you don't know how to run it, if you need help in managing the everyday, because you don't have time, money, or attention to give to the new, then our Enterprise Managed Services group fits into that. So we'll have stories from all 5 of those value streams today, and illustrating how OST brings that to bear for our customers. We also, Bond Security and Configura, these are national initiatives. These are places where we have best-in-breed knowledge and applied at a national scale. So like we do in healthcare, in the bond space where we started 21 years ago, Security and Configura, we serve niche markets and have national level skill sets. Now what we've learned is that, as Rob had presented in that session, is that systems thinking creates the scale of the organization for change. But we see time after time after time that organizations that are great at scale aren't necessarily good at digital transformation. And so as Rob and I were in discussions, we recognized that design thinking provides the spark, and that you have, in order to get an organization the size of Amway or Caterpillar or Herman Miller to pivot in a new direction, you have to have a clearly articulated statement of direction and be able to cast that vision for what the customer is going to be able to achieve, what the customer's customer is going to be able to experience differently as a result of this new project, the digital transformation space. And so design thinking and systems thinking go together really, really well. And they are fundamental. And we had that thought anecdotally, but the research actually bears that out. I don't expect anybody else to use this particular slide ever, but there was a paper presented at the Hawaii International Conference on System Sciences in January of this past year talking about design thinking specifically. And there was two questions that they were researching. The application of design thinking improves the ability to solve complex service innovation problems. So when services are very, very hard to design, are solving complex problems for customers, does design thinking actually help in solving internal service design problems, and does it help deliver customer value? And everybody had anecdotes about it, but does the research actually bear that out? And they said it absolutely does in those two areas, and at the intersection when you're trying to solve complex customer problems and deliver customer value, and it's going to require a service innovation internally to deliver that, design thinking absolutely is the best approach for driving that particular conversation within a large complex organization. So the research bears it out. And the negative, the adoption of design thinking is limited by an individual's uncertainty avoidance. So if someone wants to have absolute answers that are absolutely concrete, that they absolutely know what's going to happen, they want to send out an RFP, they want to get a fixed bid price, they want to deliver on a project, and they want to have a defined ROI, they're probably not going to adopt this approach. They'll probably get stuck. And so people who are willing to embrace a certain degree of uncertainty or a certain degree of ambiguity and enter into a design thinking process. And we have examples of that that we'll be talking about. So because we saw that design thinking to address these organizational behavior problems was a fundamental competency and we had to address it, this is part of our OST rebranding. So just as the value streams are a reflection of OST oriented in a manner that's aligned towards digital transformation and towards the changes in the market, we've also reoriented with our branding with the combination of Open Digital and OST. So Open Digital is the digital consultancy within OST. And that's focused on the human behavioral and the design thinking aspects that are foundational to digital transformation. So to start, we have the set of cards, which is fun to use. But Caterpillar is the first of the projects that we would like to talk about. So Caterpillar, everybody knows Caterpillar, the big yellow earth-moving devices. I'm looking forward to going down to North Carolina because I'm told that they have an adult sandbox down there. And Steve with Caterpillar has said that next time I go down there, that I'll be able to go out and play with bulldozers and excavators and dump trucks in their demonstration yard. But we all know this company. It's a Fortune 100 company. They have remarkable insights to their customers. And they wanted to create a new dealer experience, a new portal experience. And we sent a team to an industry trade show that was made up of a strategist and a designer and a developer. And those three people were able to iterate 3 times in one day around a hypothesis. And were able to test it, prove it, demonstrate it, iterate on it. And that process of rapid build and learn that small targeted team was able to do, linking strategy and design and technology and the build activities, learning through making, has now become adopted as the best practice, best-in-class example of how digital transformation is brought to reality for Caterpillar. And we continue to do that work today. And that's really the core of what we're talking about, is that through learning by doing, we can bring amazing value to clients. Because oftentimes, and we've all had this experience, someone will ask us to build something or ask us to design something or ask us for a project, and we get part of the way through it and we realize that what we're building isn't what they actually need. So sometimes in order to give them what we need, we have to give them what they don't ask for and be able to articulate that the value of our process is, it might be different than what they're thinking. It might be a different process than what they're envisioning, but there is fundamental value in the way we go about doing this that is going to bring the results that they want, the outcomes that they want, maybe not quite the path that they were expecting. So another example is Herman Miller. And Herman Miller, with their LiveOS platform, I feel like I should run my office and get the strategy document that we did, but with LiveOS, it's a sit-stand desk coupled with the Aeron chair that's been reimagined as a data collection platform. And it's so cool to see the way that the Aeron chair was redesigned so that the mesh that's in the chair is actually now a data collection platform. So through the embedded sensors that are in the mesh of the Aeron chair, they can tell your posture, if you're sitting forward, sitting back. Theoretically, they could actually determine how much you weigh. They aren't collecting that data. But this chair is a sensor platform coupled with the LiveOS table. When I stand up, the table knows that I'm standing up and I'm in front of it, and the table then goes to my preferred height because of its interaction with the mobile application. And so we built the data analytics platform, and the interesting thing that we did there was what Alex Jantz, who was the lead architect on the project, called a process that he called beta data. And they mocked up the data in a design activity and created a portal. And what they were trying to do is to work with the customer to identify what data would be valuable and useful to the consumer of this product, to the facility manager, to the HR person, to the individual employee. What data would be useful to those people? And then they built the table and chair and the IoT platform to provide the data that would be valuable to the business. So instead of building a product to generate data and then saying, oh, what can we do with this data? They actually built the product to generate the data that would have the value. And then they built an analytics platform that could deliver that data with a portal that had the design attributes. It was Herman Miller, after all. Herman Miller thinks about design. It's fundamental to who they are. And so they were thinking about, how do we design this in a way that engages our customers and demonstrates the value of their investment in the LiveOS platform? Because a smart chair and smart desk is more expensive than a dumb chair and a dumb desk. And the data is what provided that value. And we did that. By the way, we set highest standards of information security. A large financial services entity purchased these products from Herman Miller, and it went through the most rigorous audit that you could go through outside of the Department of Defense, basically, and it passed with flying colors. So in addition to creating great dashboards and good data, we did it in a way that was secure using the public cloud. In this case, it was AWS. And this is a referenceable public case study that AWS has, which, by the way, we just received advanced partner status, and that was in part based upon what we did at Herman Miller. It was also based on what we did at Amway. And at Amway, they built a air purification system. That was the first product that we did, the Atmosphere Sky unit. And we have one of these in the office, but the Sky unit is a portfolio of products for clean air. They just released the 5.0 version of the mobile app. We've been working on the mobile app since April of 2016, and we are releasing new products into the App Store every month. We are using CI/CD pipelines, we're using AWS, we've got automated testing, we've got all the deployment tools, and so this is really a digital product development. Catherine Ehrenberger, who is the Senior Vice President of the supply chain when I began working on that project with them, said that we were we were in their supply chain, and she used the term digital supply chain, that we were actually just like the company that makes the plastics and the electronics and the molded components, that we were part of the supply chain for this product because we were building the mobile experience and the AWS platform that this ran on. And it has been a great success. It's now introduced in the Korean market, and it's in 17 other countries. So we built a product that is deployed in Europe, North America, and Asia, 17 countries, in the App Store with new releases going every month, tied to a physical product with a data platform that's associated with that, that's driving analytics. And this was just the first of a set of products that Amway is developing in what they call their Connected Experience, ConX program. And it all uses the same platform. So we created a platform that is a platform that can be extended across multiple products that Amway makes. Amway's the world's largest direct marketing organization. They've never been a digital product company before. This was a fundamentally new competency that they had to learn, and they learned it from us as we went through this process with them. And that's another public case study. Amazon cites it as well. Navistar. Terry Klein, the CIO, now retiring, the CIO of Navistar. 300,000, actually more than, I think they were about 380 to 400,000 trucks now that they have on their connected OnCommand platform. OnCommand is a smart truck data collection platform. And Terry Klein is the CIO, is the product owner for that, the sponsoring product executive. And Terry really manifests the behavior of CIOs that are tied to innovation in their organizations. Some CIOs are running the infrastructure and the transactional environments, and Terry is tied to innovation. And Terry recognized that in order for him to pay attention to the innovation spaces and the product development spaces, that he needed to take things off of his plate. And so our managed services team manages the Hadoop infrastructure that's on-prem to support, that was supporting this in its very first rollout. I think there's 60-some nodes in their Hadoop cluster now that we're managing. But we also do managed services for a variety of other products and platforms in order to take attention and time, or I should say, to give their employees capacity for attention and time to apply to problems of innovation. And we've been Navistar has been a customer of ours since 2003. Shortly after the employee buyout of OST that Dan and I did in 2003, our first major win as a 7-person company was Navistar. Meredith was the project manager. Kip Bronk, Bhaskar Gunda, and I were the technical leads. And Dan Beam and Brent Sundberg were responsible for the sales and OEM relationships. I think that was everybody. But basically, it was almost the whole company. And why in the world would a Fortune 500 company buy their data center infrastructure for the most important platform for their refresh from a 7-person company? Because we had extraordinarily capabilities to deliver that technology. We had world-class knowledge. At the time, it was in the bond infrastructure space. But it illustrates the fact that we're willing to step into large, complex problems for big organizations, and that confidence still carries us forward. And even though, at the time, our managed services team had never managed a Hadoop infrastructure before, they were willing to step into that and embrace the opportunity that set forward. And as a result, Navistar became an even more strategic partner. They have the largest population of connected trucks of any manufacturer. They're bigger than Volvo or Peterbilt. Their primary competitors, Freightliner, they've got the largest fleet of connected trucks, and they're now creating digital opportunities based upon that data. By the way, Tony Stauffer is a rock star at that account. He's just really good. And that's the transition. Hennepin Healthcare. Hennepin had to move their data center. They were moving from an obsolete data center that they had on-prem. They're moving to a local co-location company that had the quality as a tier 1 data center that they needed to move into. And Matt Werder, who's the CTO at Hennepin Health System, he partnered with us to move their critical care infrastructure, and this is hospital-grade infrastructure at this time, and hospital-grade infrastructures that are supporting patient critical care have to be done with predictability and reliability. And our hybrid IT team and our managed services team stepped in together and was able to deliver on that. And this is we've done data center moves time after time after time. Now, when I talked to Matt, and I just talked to him this past week, the reason why OST is a valuable partner to him is because he's trying to engage with his clinicians, his senior leadership around strategy, and because every strategy of organizations that now has a digital or IT or technology touch point, he wants to engage with the strategy of the organization. If he's worrying about Windows Server patching or a Citrix environment, he can't do that as much. And so he views OST as a strategic partner by taking attention away from the things that would divert him from strategy. And so it's that idea that in the space of digital transformation, how do we help our customers create that space? There's another example from healthcare, Spectrum Health. And Krisha Winwright, who is the former CIO at Priority Health, she's now Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, so with a competitor, so we can't put her name on the card. But she spoke very highly of how she partnered with us for digital transformation. And the part that we supplied between the design team and our subject matter experts was specifically related to moving from a hypothesis, an idea, to taking it into reality. So she came to us with an idea, and our design team, and this was actually the very first engagement that we did with Visual Hero that I was involved in. And our design team met with Krisha, talked to customers, talked to consumers, went through a persona exercise, and as a result, they realized that the thing that Krisha thought they would build, which is documented in this binder, wasn't the thing that Priority's customers actually needed. And so they pivoted and created an entirely new internal system so that they could be positioned to provide the service that they wanted to do externally. So they had to do an internal system innovation to create an optimized experience for their consumers outside. And that was discovered through the application of design thinking to what she thought was a technology development project. And that highlights this moment of the pivot. When you think you're working on one thing, and it actually turns into something else. Because there's the optimization activity, which we focus on, which is about reducing cost, reducing risk, improving the predictability of a system, which is what Hennepin is thinking about, which is what Navistar is thinking about. And that's on the optimization side, maximizing assets, efficiencies, decreasing cost. And as you get to scale with that, you find that that supports the opportunity space. And you're able to go and increase your relevancy, your potential. You can differentiate yourself, create new customer engagement, new branded experiences. But then there are other times that you create new products for the opportunity space. And in that creation of opportunity, that's where design thinking enables the organization that's focused on scale to begin focusing on opportunity. And it's also is what enables you to take an opportunity and move it beyond a POC or a science fair project and move it to something that now runs at scale. So we have to tie those two disciplines of design thinking, which focuses on the right-hand side, and the systems thinking, which focuses on the left-hand side. And the two merge together, which is what OST does, is able to create products and services that enable companies that are the best at what they do get better. And whether it's the Mall of America, or Stryker, or Amstead Rail, or Caterpillar, or Hennepin, or Spectrum, or you get the list. And these organizations that represent really strong brands find in partnering with OST that they get better. And so the way I end is I ask the room, what's your story? What's the story that you want to create? What are you trying to do for your customers, for your end users, for your internal constituents? What's the story you're trying to create? What's the outcome you want to drive towards? Not what technology do you want to use. It's not a question of Red Hat versus AIX. It's not a question of what storage platform you're using. But what outcome do you want to create? And then based on the outcome that you want to create, let's think about whether it's going to be a proof of value, a proof of concept, it's going to be a riskiest assumption test, it's going to be an imagination process, perhaps, to think through that. And that's where the combination of cloud architects and domain architects and design specialists and the strategy team, mobile developers, that whole team, when they come together, really does some magical stuff for our clients. So, as Meredith said at our company kickoff, changing how the world connects together. And that's what we do at OST.